I was going to say, do I look like Babaji enough? Real spiritualists would get that question. Like real ones. It's an inside joke. It means that we're like connecting on the astral planes so much because we're the same person. That's how you know I'm advanced. My hair's not black enough. It's weird. Anyway, so does that mean you're a channel? It's not the same thing. It is the same thing, but it's not the same thing. That's the whole point of the divine feminine in a circle. All right, so class 00, death as initiation. So let me tell you a story about Babaji. Because I first found out about him reading Yogananda's book, and then that asshole didn't leave me alone forever. And his spirit was mean. Mean. So, his spirit, when I was like head deep in doing the brain rewiring work, or like maybe 6-7 months into it, his spirit came in, put his hand on my heart chakra, and like darkened my heart, and then razor blades came through on the astral planes, obviously, but it hurt. And there were days, like 3 days, where I could literally feel the blades like chopping me up in the astral planes. Now, looking in hindsight, obviously that was a healing. But when I was going through it, it was only psychic attack. Do you get it? So if somebody loves you, sometimes you might see the razor blades coming through and you're going, oh, this is scary. It's really intimidating. And then I'm like, I'm just dealing with an Indian demon. I didn't realize until Simon had told me that Babaji is apparently an incarnation of Shiva. I didn't know that. And I go, that makes sense. I didn't say he was the incarnation of Shiva. I said he was an incarnation of Shiva. There's a difference. He knows it. So, this is how you really know that you have gotten connection. You'll see Babaji in the physical worlds, in the etheric world, and in the Disneyland world. And in the Disneyland world, he looks like a little cartoon character that's a kid. Because he reaches those really high frequency planes. And then he'll ground really deep into the planet. This is an important lesson. No, I don't want to say that. This is the important lesson. See how my eyes glow? If you can reach the Disneyland plains, the Disney plains, where everyone looks like cartoons with big eyes and everything's funny, and you can ground and have the gravity on the planet, you're doing good. I know that it's hell. I know. Because that level of spectrum is hard. You know what makes it feel better for me? Songs. Let me explain. Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk with you again. So, like that in the Trolls soundtrack, I fell in love with it, right? So I'm listening to it over and over and over. Because I'm this crazy little psychic fairy, right? And I just want to be in the higher zone. And then some witch plays the disturbed version for me. The same song, and it brings me down. And not in like a depressing way. It brings me down so that I have gravity, so that I'm not looking like a freak fairy troll when everyone is crazy on the planet. So that I'm not laughing at homeless people. So that when a kid is hurt, I can go up to the higher planes if I want to, but I can also stay in the empathy zone. This is my favorite part about Lucifer magic. Is that Lucifer for me is that it's grounding and reverent to other people's suffering and struggles. So that I'm not just some crazy hippie chick, but that I understand the dark side of life in a really scary way. I understand the pain. I understand stigmata. I understand demons. I understand fairies. I understand the angels. I understand everything. It's really easy for me to go from the bottom up to the top. It is really hard for most spiritualists to go from the top down. That's descended mastery. So this is a really good segue to why I started this rant to begin with. Class 000, death as initiation. To be in this class, you were a spiritualist that decided to go down. And then you can go right back up. It's easy. But to even ground that deeply is hell. And that's your death point. That's your 0 point energy. So, death as initiation. How to prepare for an initiation on a soul level. I have a story about me doing my first dragon initiation. And this is a really important story, and some of you guys have heard it, and some of you guys have not. But I need to say it, and it needs to be in a proper class format. I was doing my dragon initiation for the Dragon Apprentice. I was on the verge of feeling like I was dying. I was crusty. I was exhausted. This was about a year after Babaji started doing the brain rewiring program with me. He didn't really do it with me. He inspired me to do it. He helped me set the grid for me to do it for a month-ish. And then I did it for the next year. So, I was exhausted. I had just completed a contract at Fender while doing all the brain rewiring work. Most days I felt like my brain was bleeding. I felt like I was ripping open my mind, like athletes rip open their muscles. And I was pushing forward mentally, understanding that I was going to create the new frontier and that nothing on the planet was going to get in my way anymore. And that I would mentally claw my way out, inch by inch. So I did it 3 hours a day. And I did it with the Kabbalah tree of life and all the correspondences and all the paths, etc., etc. I grounded dimensions, light language colors and shapes and everything that I could think of. All of my virtues, all my vices, all my problems, all of my blocks, everything. Everything went into the lava to either be destroyed or grounded. And I had a system, and the system was good and clean. Now, at the end of this, I was exhausted. I felt like I didn't get the results that I wanted to. I felt that I had committed myself to an immense load of work that had created no tangible results because I was expecting too much too fast. And so when I did my dragon initiation, I was on my last hope. I was ready to give up everything because I had already spent a year almost giving up everything. And when I did my first initiation, it was me wasted away, broken, and completely open to God. It was one of the first initiations that I thought, I'm actually ready to learn something. I'm actually able and willing to open up. Which is funny because I had been training and teaching and studying for a decade. Almost. And I prepared for my initiation, just as I said to prepare in the class 000. Minus some of the key components of joy added into it. A lot of cleaning, a lot of temple preparation, and it was soulless. I did all the technical things correct, but there was no empty cup. So when Charlie, my dragon, showed up, it felt amazing. And he started doing work on me right away, energetically grounding me, feeling me, loving me, making me feel like I was energetically whole again for the first time ever. Putting pieces of my body back together, putting pieces of my astral form back together where I felt whole and sane. And some other dragons were helping. This is all in the etheric world, the astral planes. But I am very sensitive, so I can feel everything in the astral planes all the time. And then a few days passed by, and I was undergoing resistance, attack, and the dragons weren't doing anything at that point. So whatever was working a few days prior was no longer working then. This is that maybe it gets worse before it gets better scenario. So at that point, I had given up hope. And I started actually preparing to die because I was in such immense pain and suffering physically and mentally and emotionally and spiritually. Not as much spiritually, but a lot. I was actually preparing to die. And I wrote letters, and I took care of whatever finance things I needed to take care of, and whatever I wanted to do that needed to get done to make sure that I was okay when I died, mentally and emotionally. I did. I prepared. And then I took a razor into the bathtub. And I set it on the side. And for the first time in my life, I dumped an entire bag of Epsom salt into the bath. An entire bag. Not just one bag, 2 bags. Whatever I had in my home. I go, I want to feel what it feels like to do that before I die. And then I dumped an entire bottle of lavender oil in it. Because I wanted to feel what it felt like. And then all the tea lights, all the candles I had, everything. I lit it up. Everything. Because I wanted to see what it looked like. So I lined the bath with 100, 200, whatever, tea light candles. I remember, I think there were different colors of them too. And I got into that bathtub. And I realized I'd been playing it safe my whole life. Saving money. And I remember when I was preparing that bath, my fairy in the back of my brain, as I was halfway crying, thinking I was going to die, it was just saying, it will be okay. It will be okay. Like, it didn't matter if I died. It was just a body, just a shell. And when I finally got into that bathtub and started to relax, Charlie zipped through into the bathtub and stuck his giant head into my bathroom and then goes, "Now that is how you prepare for an initiation." That. And I was like, what the fuck? Seriously. That was the most mind-blowing lesson I had ever been taught, and it was by an etheric dragon. 'Cause Star never could do that to me. Ever. And I go, this dragon fucking rocks. That was the best spiritual teaching I have ever been given. And at that moment, I was like, nothing on this planet matters if it's not touched by the fucking dragons. At all. It's really sad because I think about how Game of Thrones ended. And I wonder if if George R. R. Martin actually, if he truly connected to the dragons, how well that could be written, and how miserable the Game of Thrones people were. Like, how soulless they fucking were. Because the dragons are like the most wise, amazing creatures in existence for infinity. But I do like how Drogon burned down the throne. That was kind of rad. But seriously, Charlie coming through, going, now that's how you prepare for an initiation. Boom. Like, tough love. Prepare to die. Actually, physically, completely thinking you're actually gonna fucking die. I had never heard anything like it. I prepare for my initiations now like I'm actually gonna fucking die. And now I live like it too. There was one class I wanted to do that I thought might be a little too dark for a lot of you spiritualists. But the premise of it was, what would you do if you lived with a cyanide pill in your pocket? What would you do? How would you live? What would you decide if you knew you could take yourself out pain-free? How much different would your choices be made daily? Are you living under the guise that you're imprisoned by your own life? Like your life matters more than your life? There was something very poignant about what I said about this Charlie upping Star. But before I went to go stay with her and learn from her, I was imprisoned in a life. I had all these acting classes and dance classes and training classes and Kabbalah classes, like every fucking thing. And everything. And a full-time job to pay for it all. And then I get on the phone with Star. She's like, what are you not telling me? Like I was holding something back. And all I wanted to tell her was, I'm miserable in my life. Can I come live and study with you? That's all I wanted to ask her. And she could hear it. But I never fucking said it. Because I was afraid of her rejection. I was afraid to live. And then she was telling me that Wynn was asking me when I was going to come to the Dome and do this acting project with her. And I was like, I don't know when I can. I have this life I have to live. This life that I'm miserable in. And then I lost my job a week later. And then Mommy Star became Mommy Star. I never told her that story. Maybe she'll know it now. So, death as initiation. How to prepare for an initiation like you're gonna die. Imagine you're gonna fucking die. Be an actress. Put yourself in the situation thinking that you're gonna be shot by even watching this video. How would you live? This is even better if you're a mom. Like, how am I going to take care of my children? Who are my children going to go to? Like, who do I need to train to handle my children? Like, this is everything. Death makes things matter. gives it gravity. It gives it meaning. So if you knew you were going to die, what would you do? That's your homework assignment. Class 00. We start with this. Physically. Like it's real. Because you know what? Your life tomorrow ain't guaranteed. Kali Ren out.